Yo, what's going on YouTube? Cloverbells here, back with another Series 11 video, but this time it's not a team building video, it's not a battle video. This is what we call a team fixing video, where a viewer is subscribed as a member of my YouTube membership program, and one of the perks that you get as a member is to be able to submit a team to me, and I will have my input on it, where I can optimize the EV spreads the way I think it should be played. And another kind of tier, the tier 3 membership, is where you can do team building with me, where we can build a team from scratch and we hash out all the EVs together and whatnot, and we test it out as well. But this is a tier 2 perk where someone has submitted a team that was already built by them, and they want me to fix it. And for the sake of privacy and just keeping the identity private, I have removed the sender's name from the Pokepaste, right? So this way we can't berate them or anything like that. But as it stands, let's just take a look at what they submitted, right? So it looks like it's a Sun team, and it's a very good team, right? I understand a lot of the combinations that are trying to happen here, and I see what they're trying to do. So it looks like, again, Sun teams are very, very strong, and you can't go wrong with Venusaur, Charizard, Groudon plus Dark type, right? I think that's a very standard way to build Sun in Series 11, and they have it here. So as it stands, it's already a pretty good team. It's a unique team in the sense that there's some options here that you normally wouldn't really see, like there's a Sableye, Lapras, and the Metagross. Okay, those are the three odd ones here, but I see the combinations, right? So instead of the Grimmsnarl screen set, we're opting for a more active offensive screen setter with Lapras, and that also gives a little bit more security into Kyogre. I see that. There's a Parasong endgame. Okay, and it looks like those are relatively optimized EV spreads. I see that there's a 196 EV bump in the Modest Nature. Okay, very good. There's a Sableye, and the Sableye has a couple of purposes here. One, to set Sunny Day, right? Prankster Sunny Day. That's not only going to help set the sun for this Sun team, but it's also going to be good against Kyogre teams where you can take away their rain. And you have a Metagross here, which can get its weakness policy activated by Shadow Sneak from the Sableye. And I see that it's a more offensive Metagross in the sense that it's to the third EV bump in the 196 Adamant attack nature, and there's no speed on it, which is fine, because most people tend to believe that speed on Metagross doesn't really do too much for it, and I can understand that. And at the same time, Sableye is your Dark type for Calyrex Shadow, right? With Shadow Sneak as well. And there's some speed control here with Quash, so I understand that. And yeah, and now let's look at the Sun core here. So we're Assault Vest Groudon. That's an interesting one with Fire Punch and Dragon Claw. Okay, the other two are more standard. So those are some interesting texts, and it looks like we're 252, 252. We already know how I feel about that. The Venusaur is Sash with Protect. Okay. Again, I understand it, sure. Charizard looks like that's a Solar Beam Charizard. Ooh, okay. Alright, so very, very interesting. Alright, so as it stands, it's a cool team. I like it a lot. You'll win a lot of games in Master Ball tier for sure. And if you were to bring this to a tournament, I wouldn't be too mad. But can we make it better? And is there some things that maybe the viewer, the submitter didn't think about? Yes. So here's what I think, and this is how we're also going to fix it, right? So the thing is with the Sash Venusaur, okay, I understand the Protect, but I think you still want Sleep Powder, man. I mean, that's part of what makes Venusaur so threatening and so punishing, besides its Gigantamax, is the fact that you can go for Sleep Powder and punish a Dynamax that an early Dynamax that wouldn't be optimal, right? So I think Sleep Powder is still one of your best outs in a certain type of battle, right? So that's one thing. The fact that Groudon can't boost its attack without Swords Dance, especially in a meta where Intimidate spam everywhere, I think that's very punishing. And I understand the idea behind the Assault Vest. You can tank a Water Spout from Kyogre on switch in relatively well, but if we have screens, we don't really need the Assault Vest. So I think we're gonna want Swords Dance just to be able to punish Intimidate spams at the very least when properly placed. Okay, Fire Punch and Dragon Claw is not really gonna do too much for it. I understand it. I respect the options there, but I still think you're gonna want Swords Dance and Protect here. Okay, and the Zard. I think Max Quake can come in clutch in a lot of games. I also understand Solar Beam. I think it's an okay move on it, but I think Max Quake is good, especially when there's other things that are weak to Max Quake in the meta, and not so much the grass thing. So we already have a Venusaur for our grass type damage, so the Solar Beam is a little redundant to me. Okay, the Sableye is kind of cool. If anything, I would like to see the Sash on the Sableye more than anything if we're gonna do it like this. But I feel like, see, it's always tricky, right? I much rather see a Grimmsnarl on this team with the screens, but you have the Lapras here, and then the Metagross, I don't think it fits. I understand it. It's okay. Metagross Lapras together is actually pretty cool. But I feel like that's a team in itself entirely. So what I'm going to suggest here is that we fully commit to Sun mode, because the other thing here is there's a lot of things that want to max, because Venusaur, although it doesn't have to max, it's pretty good if you max it. Zard, again, a max option. Groudon can max. Lapras max. Metagross max. I feel like we could use a little bit more support mons on this team besides a Sableye. Okay, and it just gets a little awkward in some games where you have Venusaur, Groudon, and then Sableye in the back with Metagross. I feel like just having a Metagross not maxing and then bringing it in the back can get awkward in some games. So I feel like what we're gonna do is we're gonna ditch the Lapras Metagross mode. I feel like that's the best thing to do. So here's what I'm gonna suggest. Now let's go into the team builder on Showdown, and let's see how we can adjust this. Okay, so now what we're doing is we're taking a look at the Sun team here. So again, we're gonna keep Groudon, we're gonna keep Venusaur, and we're gonna keep Charizard here. Are we gonna have these items on these mons specifically? I think they're gonna change. So Zard really likes Life Orb, and I have no problem with this, but I think we're gonna put it on the Venusaur. I just think, with the speed that you can get on Venusaur, and to have it as a Dynamax option, I think it's pretty strong. And we're gonna put Sleep Powder on this, by the way. The Groudon, again, we're gonna change these EVs a little bit, and I just think the Citrus Berry right now is really good on it. I respect White Herb. I like White Herb a lot. I like Lumberry. That's one of my favorite ones on it. But I think we're gonna change this to a Citrus Berry. And then the Zard, we're gonna take a page from Colin, Audie, and those guys, and we're gonna go the Assault Vest Zard here, and we're gonna put Ancient Power on this, and of course we're gonna go Scorching Sands. I think the Ancient Power is really nice against opposing Zards, and the Assault Vest is gonna help us, take some of these special attacks relatively well. And then if we have screen support, we can survive like Landorus stuff as well. So I think having the AV was the right call when Colin, those guys built that Sand team, and we're gonna take a page from it. So the EV spreads we'll get to in a second, but the rest of the team here. So the submitter told me they liked Porygon. Okay, so why not put it here? I mean, it makes perfect sense. So let's just add the Porygon here. Okay, so the Porygon is really good because now you get an additional mon for speed control, and that's going to be good like for Groudon as well. And what's going to be good for our screen setter instead of Lapras is Grimmsnarl. So Grimmsnarl P2 is a very nice combination. So I think that's going to go on the team. And to round out the 6th slot, I think how are we going to do this? I think it's going to be the... Do we need the land? No, we don't need the Lando for the final ground type. I think we're going to need one other thing. And I want to say it's going to be Instant. Yeah, I think Intimidate is just very important. And it's going to come in the clutch against Zacian and some of these other mons that are physical attackers like a Calyrex Ice team. So in terms of this 6, this is what we want. Now we're going to fix up the EVs, the items, the movesets, and we'll show you some damage calcs, and then we'll play some practice games with it. So let's just try and start with the EVs now. Alright, so now let's just take a look at how we're going to EV the rest of this Sun team here, and as well as change whatever we have here. So I'm thinking with the Porygon, let's just do the moveset here. I do like, what's it called? I do like Ice Beam on this, and I do like, of course, Recover and Trick Room, right? That's pretty standard. And now for this last move here, there's a few things you can put here, but first let's put the Eviolite. So I'm thinking 2 moves here. First of all, I'm thinking Eerie Impulse is a good one, but and if you like it, then I definitely think it's fine. But what I really would like to see is, actually, let's go with this Clover goated move here. Let's go Shadow Ball Porygon 2, and let me explain why. So I really like Shadow Ball here, just so that you have a super effective attack that you can use against Calyrex Shadow. And not only that, because we have Screens Grimmsnarl, I feel like we can just go modest P2 and actually deal decent damage, and this way, you know, our Ice Beam does relatively well. But also, when we Dynamax Porygon 2, if we have a +1 special attack boost and we Dynamax the Porygon, okay, now we have max Phantasm. Now we can drop defenses, and that's going to help out our Groudon and Incineroar a little bit. So I kind of like that idea as well. So the Shadow Ball has multiple purposes. 1, for Calyrex Shadow, and 2, if the situation arises, max Phantasm for those defense drops to really help our Groudon here. Okay, that's one thing. And then the Grimmsnarl, we're just going to keep it a light clay set here. That's Light Ball. I always do that sometimes. Light clay. We're going to go Spirit Break. Okay, I do like the Scary Face #1 Clover goated tech on it. I think it's really nice. And then from here, I very much enjoy, again, the screen set, and let's just go ahead and put it in here. Sorry, my mouse went a little haywire here. Just give me a second. Where did it go? There it is. Okay, so Reflect and then Light Screen. Yeah, so that's a pretty standard Grimmsnarl set. And then our Incineroar here. So Flare Blitz, Fake Out, Parting Shot. And I'm not gonna lie, I know this was a Series 10 move, but I do like Throat Chop, and let me tell you why. Because we're gonna run our instant a little bit faster than most instants, and you guys know that, right? The reason why this is gonna be good is because 2 reasons. 1, in Trick Room, our pivot move goes last, so their Parting Shot goes first if they go for it, and then ours goes after theirs because we're a faster instant. So I always like a faster Incineroar in Trick Room because we're the last ones to go with Parting Shot. The other reason is Throat Chop. You can use it against opposing Incineroars, so this way they can't use their Parting Shot. So it's got a couple dual uses there. So I really like that a lot. And of course, we are going to go Intimidate here. But in terms of everything else, what we want to use, I think we're just going to guarantee a little bit more security against Sun. And just go Safety Goggles here. And the reason why is because the Groudon's going to have the Citrus, and the Venu has the Life Orb, and the Zard has the AV. All right. So now that we've got the sets and the items, now let's go ahead and look at the EVs. So let's do the instant spread. I feel like this is we're going to keep it relatively standard here. We're just going to go careful to the first bump, okay, which is we're going to be 132. You see how the number goes from 130 and then it skips 131 and goes to 132. You see the skip, and that's what we want here. And then for speed, I just like 95 speed, just so that we're faster than most Laprases that want to try and outspeed most Incineroars. So this way we can Parting Shot them and then you know, they Gigantamax their Lapras and now they're sad. And then from here, we'll just go 4 attack and then just 244 HP and then 68 defense. And this will allow us to live a close combat from a Zacian after an Intimidate. So that's always solid, and that's why we do this calc. And this is one of my favorite instant spreads. So yeah, definitely going to come in handy here. The Grimmsnarl, I feel like, again, because we have an Airstream on, we can just go 84, and then this will let us outspeed base 100s after 2 Airstreams. So I think that's relatively okay. And then we're just going to go Impish yet again, just for extra defense. All right, so this way we can be able to take more physical hits. All right, and then from here, just 4 attack, 220 HP, and the rest in SpDef, right? That 103 magic prime number. All right, and then now things will get interesting with the Groudon, the Charizard, and the Venusaur. So the Venu, actually, what I want to try and do is, because we have the screen support, I feel like we can just go modest here and go for a little bit more bulk, but also hard hitting. So we're going to go modest here. We're going to drop this a little bit, maybe about still the second bump here. So 156, that's pretty good. And we're going to optimize our Life Orb damage here. Let's go to 169. Actually, let's keep it at 159 right here. And then we just want enough so that we can outspeed speed creepers for base 100s after +1, right? Because for base 100s, like a Charizard 167 after an Airstream, times 1.5, we'll get it up to 250, right? 250.5, but rounds down to 250. So if anything, what you want to do is you want to have like 125 speed. So this way, well, actually you speed tie, but if you do this to 126, now you outspeed those base 100s after +1. But I want to outspeed those speed creepers, so then I just go to 127, right? And that's what I like to do. And then from here, what we can do is, again, we just add on the Life Orb chip, and then you can go, I like to go an even number here with the SpDef, just so that when we click Earth Power, we get a nice even number to our boost, and instead of an odd number. And then you can just dump all this into defense if you want, or you can just do like 4 defense and then just put more into special attack, or you can do just like this, all right? Or you can just, again, opt for more damage. I mean, it's totally fine. So yeah, I'll just keep it like this. All right, so that's a harder hitting, bulkier Venu, right? And then from the Zard, so we're gonna do a little bit of a page from, again, like I said, Battle Room and Audie's book. So they have this spread where if you have 44 HP and 54, wait, one more. Let's do this. Yeah, this is their spread. So this is a bulky AV Zard, right? And it can live a lot of hits, and especially against Regieleki, and it helps out a little bit in the Lando when you're Gmax along with screens. So yeah, this is our investment, and we'll show the damage calcs for this bulky Zard. But yeah, shoutouts to Battle Room and those guys for coming up with this. It's going to pay off here for our viewer that is a member of the Cole Rebels channel. Okay, and then from the Groudon here, so oh, we didn't even do the P2 spread. I just realized that. But yeah, let's take a look at the Groudon here. Here, the thing is, like, Groudon, you don't need all this attack, right? You know, I feel like it's almost in the same categories like Kartanas and Kyurem Whites, Kyurem Blacks. You don't need all this attack. You know, you're base 150. All right, I'd rather have the bulk. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna drop all of this, and if anything, maybe like first bump here. Where is it? Yeah, just like 198. Like 198 is already very strong. We don't need 222. To me that's like overkill. All right, and we're Dynamaxing anyway, so I feel like that's fine. But yeah, for the Groudon here, ultimately there's a couple things you want to try and do. First, I want to get an even number just for our Citrus Berry proc, because this way we optimize the HP and not have any decimals, so 206 is pretty good. And then from here, I feel like the 100 speed mark is pretty good, because again, when you're at 120, you outspeed Thundurus, right? And then other people are going to be trying to outspeed Thunder. So I just want to outspeed those speed creepers. So this is okay.
little point in defense. Again, we're base 140 defense. We don't need any more defense than this. And then just dump the rest in Spidef. And the idea here is with some Spidef investment along with the Citrus Berry, the idea is when you switch in Groudon for the Kyogre, you can... the water spout from Kyogre gets you below half, activates your berry, and then you can take another one and then hit it right back with the Precipice Blades, and yeah, and then you're fine. So that's the whole point of Citrus Berry Groudon, the fact that it gets you below the threshold so that it activates, and then you can take yet another one, okay, and then live to tell the tale. Right, so that's our Groudon spread, and we'll show some other calcs with this. But the main thing from Audis, if you remember with them, is they wanted to live Max Phantasm, Calyrex, Shadow, but I feel like we're fine because we have a Porygon 2 with Shadow Ball, so we don't need to worry about that. Okay, speaking of Porygon 2, this will be the last one that we're going to do, and like I said, we're going to go modest, and we're going to go typically a harder hitting Porygon. So here's what I decided to do. We're going to go modest. And normally I would just go like 36, but I'm going to go the next bump. And let's go 116 modest. So we want to have a relatively harder hitting Porygon. And then from here, honestly, what I like to do is just go for this investment. This is what's going to allow you, even without screens, to take a close combat from Zacian and live. All right. So I definitely like that. And then from here, we'll just, again, just put the remaining leftovers in Spidef and speed. So again, I like even numbers in the defense and the Spidef just so that you maximize your Eviolite, because remember it's 1.5, so we want even integer. We want, like, you know, integers, not so that when you multiply by 1.5 you get a decimal and then it rounds it down. You waste EVs that way. So I always like the even numbers in the defense and Spidef for Porygon 2. All right, so yeah, this is the Sun team. Okay, so now let's take a look at how it looks. Let's get a Pokepaste up. Okay, so this is it. So yeah, there's the Zard, there's the Venu, there's the Groudon, P2, Grimmsnarl, Incin. All right, I believe this is actually the same 6 as that Sun team from Audie and Colin. Right, it is, but we have our own spreads, our own movesets, our own items, and we have our own EV spreads. Right, so now let's just show off some damage calcs, and then we'll showcase it in a couple of battles, and then this way we'll see if we have a good Sun team or not. All right, let's look at the Porygon 2 first. So again, this one's looking at the Urshifu, right? So if Urshifu is going for a Wicked Blow or close combat, by the way, this is a black glasses Urshifu. This is the default, but either way, of course, we're living the close combat from an Urshifu. And let's look at Zacian, because this is the one that I mentioned earlier. So standard Zacian, again, there's the close combat. The Porygon 2 absolutely lives it. Actually, this is the other older Porygon. Let me just go back here and show you the other one. But either way, the HP and the EV set is the same no matter what. So yeah, this is the one that we're using in the fixed Sun team. All right, so there's the close combat. We lived that. Let's look at Landorus, Therian, right? Landorus, Therian. Let's look at a blank EV set. Let's assume 252, 252 Jolly, right? And then we'll look at AV. Ice Beam just absolutely murders it any day of the week. If it was Dynamax, that's a very good roll against a Dynamax Landorus with 252, 252. Again, you know, if there's nothing really this Landorus can do against this B2, right? The Landorus is really good against Sun. You have to have ice coverage on a Sun team, I feel like. So this is why it's so nice. And if you even get a +1 with the download boost, then yeah, you just win the game, right? Let's assume that it wasn't. Let's say, of course, if we Dynamax, yeah, of course, Max Hailstorm kills. If this was AV Lando, how much is this going to do? So Assault Vest, Landorus. I mean, that's still very good damage. Anywhere from like 63 to 75 on a Dynamax Pokemon is always really nice. And then again, if we Dynamax our own P2, that's still a very nice roll. And then if you factor in like you know, Hail Chip, it's still pretty good. And, you know, you got a great chance to knock out this Lando. So That's really nice. So those are the more important calcs for the P2. Again, living the close combat from the Zacian, being able to put pressure on the Landorus. Let's take a look at the Calyrex Shadow. Actually, that's one more calc here that I did forget. Let's look at the standard Cali set. So if you just not max. So actually, Shadow Ball has a nice chance to Oko. It's actually not a high chance, I would have to say, but the thing is, if the Calyrex has taken any Life Orb chip, then it just dies, because you know, you can only really get one attack off, and then we just go for a Shadow Ball, and there it is. It's dead. So I like this a lot. And again, if you Dynamax P2, of course you're gonna KO it with a Phantasm. If they Dynamax as well, I mean, that's still such big damage. And what is Calyrex doing to you? Nothing. All right. So, and if I have to show it, you know, I'll show it. +1, just destroys a Dynamax Calyrex Shadow. So if you have to Dynamax your P2, do it. You're gonna one-shot it. And yeah, so those are pretty important Porygon 2 calcs. Let's look at some other calcs. Okay, this is the AV Charizard against Dynamax Landorus. Again, so you notice that the Rockfall kills, right? But again, with a Reflect Up, we can live it. And the idea also is if you pivot in your Instant and you're able to reduce this 252 Landorus to -1, again, you still live the Rockfall. So that's always really nice to be able to live that. And then, you know, when you have the Sun Up, you do pretty big damage to a Landorus here. So that's always nice to be able to know how to live that Rockfall from that Landorus. I mean, that's one of Charizard's main boon, it's that rock damage. So the fact that you have a couple outs, whether it's the Reflect or the Intimidate, it's going to help you live, and that's all that matters. But what about the Regieleki? So something like a standard Alecki set here, if they max Lightning your Zard, you live, which is always important, right? So, and then you can just smash it potentially right back with a G-Max Wildfire. So really good against the Alecki as well. So the fact that you can, you know, Quake it or go for Wildfire in the Sun, and again, the Wildfire, even though you're not Life Orb, will just still kill the Regieleki. So yeah, it's really good. Just living that max Lightning, and if this was Modest, I mean, it only has an 18.8% chance to roll. Again, we don't even have screens. I'm not even factoring in screens, right? If I factor in Light Screen, you're fine either way. So, you know, if I just go Timid here, and Timid is just even worse. And what if this was, and again, this is Magnet Alecki. This is like Timid, Magnet Alecki, and then this is Modest Alecki, right? Modest, Magnet Alecki. So this is Modest Magnet Alecki not being able to kill a Zard through Light Screen. So, and then even here, you know, Modest Magnet Alecki still has a roll to try and kill Zard, and it's not a great roll. It's a roll in your favor. So chances I'm willing to take here. So those are the two big important calcs there. So now let's take a look at Groudon. All right, so this is Kyogre. 252 Modest Mystic Water, right? This is no weather, and now let's assume Groudon brings out the Sun, and if we have Light Screen up from the Grimmsnarl. So here's what I'm talking about, right? The Kyogre can potentially bring the Groudon below the threshold, because it's going to do more than half potentially, and then when it does, we'll get the recovery. And then when we get the recovery, we'll be able to take another one. So assuming, let's just say it does like the 52%, right? So then we're at 48% health. So if I type in that number here, so then if we're here, then our berry activates, and then we can actually take another one after that when we get the recovery, because after recovery, let me just quickly do the math here. It's going to be 51, right? So then we'll be at 150. So if we're at 150, roughly, then we're at 73. And then again, if he clicks Water Spout again, we take it again. Oh, you can't see it on my screen. So yeah, that's the whole point with Grimmsnarl and this Groudon ideal spread. So the fact that you can take a couple Water Spouts and then just potentially deal big damage right back with a P-Blades is always really good to know. Alright, so that's the main Groudon calc there. And Citrus is just overall a really good item on it. It's just so that you can recover on it. One last thing, let's just take a look at the Incineroar. Alright, so I know I show this a bunch of times in Series 10, but again, here's the calc. Here's our Incineroar, and again, we've brought the Zacian to neutral with the Intimidate. So 252 Zacian close combat, again, does not kill the Incineroar, so we're able to survive and then potentially go for the knockout blow with the Flare Blitz, assuming it has taken a little bit of chip already. So really good to have on hand. Oh wait, this is actually not even full instant, so let's just go here. But yeah, either way, it's good to know offhand. And yeah, I mean that now that we've got a great Sun team, let's just go ahead and test it in some battles. Alright, so I meant to do this last time. So again, this is a standard Landorus going against our Venusaur. And again, if this is 252 Jolly Lando, and this is our Venusaur spread, we are living that max airstream when we Dynamax, okay? And again, if we have Reflect up, or if we get Intimidate, so not only do we just neuter this thing, but yeah, we deal big damage right back with the Vine Lash. I just want to see how it looks without the Dynamax. Okay, so even with the Reflect, it's still doing a lot, but what if we also Intimidate it at the same time? So actually, if we have Reflect and we Intimidate it, a max Airstream Lando does not kill our Venusaur, so that's always interesting to know offhand. And then if we have Reflect and Intimidate, then it doesn't even do half, not even close. So it's always nice to know that how we can live against an Airstream on a Lando. But yeah, that's the main important calc. And if you want to know like Instant in the Sun, so let's say like a Goggles Instant set, so like a Goggles Flare Blitz without Reflect, so it's going to do big damage. Actually, let's put it in the Sun. So actually in the Sun, it doesn't even kill the Instant against our Venusaur. So always really nice to know, again, that we can live a 4 attack Flare Blitz from an Instant in the Sun. So this way we can just go for that big Vine Lash damage and then just be able to, you know, even if we die next turn, the fact that I have Vine Lash chips up is good, because then Groudon or Zard can come in from the back and finish the game off. Alright, so yeah, let's keep on going. Alright, we'll just show a couple quick battles here just so that we can get a feel of how it plays. So this is a Necrozma team with Sand. I feel like if we can just neuter the Necrozma's damage and also the damage from the Lando Eye, then we're fine. We can just lead Grimmsnarl, Venu, have Groudon in the back, and also Instant, right? Because we want to be able to Intimidate spam the Necrozma. So that's how we're going to lead here. So he goes with Whimsicott and Incineroar, so that's fine with us because couple things can happen here. So he can fake out our Grim and stop us, but he can't stop the Venusaur, right? So we can always go for a max Quake here, and he doesn't want to switch Necrozma into this. He could have Lando Eye in the back, I understand that, but I feel like it's still fine even if he goes into Lando. So, but as long as we can have at least one turn where we can get our Vine Lash chip off, that's what's going to be important. And then we can just support with the Grimmsnarl later on and then have Groudon finish the game. So he actually... he could even attack, but that's fine. But he actually just goes to the fake out into Grim. There's the Tailwind. And here's my Quake. And look how much damage that does to Instant. That's very good damage. Yes, he'll get the Parting Shot off, but again, that's fine. He goes for Fake Tears for some reason. I couldn't tell you why he did that. But here comes Tyranitar, and now we're just going to go for that big Vine Lash damage that I said. And I'm very surprised he did that. I know it doesn't kill T-Tar, but that's such big damage. And the fact that I still have one more turn to max is always good, because then Grimmsnarl just gets its screens up after this, and there's not much you can do. And remember, we have Incineroar in the back, so that's always pretty helpful to know. So that's a quick one. So let's look at another. Okay, so this is a very strange Yveltal team with the Clover Icon, Celesteela, and there's a Ditto. I couldn't tell you why he has this kind of squad. But yet again, I feel like P2 is also a pretty good option, I guess, also against the Dusclops, because we have Shadow Ball if we need to use it. And if not, then we can just go fast mode with Groudon in the back. And then we can even go with Instant as well, just so that we have some super effective damage against the Steela and the Amoonguss, and a dark damage that can benefit from Yveltal's Dark Aura, right? And then we also have a dark move against Dusclops, so that's what we're going to bring. So he goes with Yveltal Amoonguss. I don't think Yveltal gets a greedy setup move here. This is not Moltres. So, you know, he could even... I don't even know if he Dynamaxes this, but I'm safe to go for Sleep Powder here because the Amoonguss can't redirect it. And then I can just go into Groudon here just to ensure that I go first. So that's my play. Even if I miss, I miss. It's fine. I still have a Groudon in the back. And P2 doesn't get the download boost that I want, but that's fine because we're going to go with Groudon. He actually does max the Yveltal. So if I can hit the Sleep Powder, that's great. And I do. So that's very punishing. He went for Spore there. I have no idea why he did that. Maybe he made a read. But yeah, I mean, this is why you need Sleep Powder and not Protect on the Venusaur. Because it just gives you an out like this, where this was not available if you had Protect, right? So now let's just take a look at one more, and then we'll call it a wrap. Alright, so this one's a Lapdog team with a Pelipper for Tailwind and Rain, I guess. And then there's a Sylveon for some reason. I couldn't tell you why there's a Sylveon here, but there it is. There's a Sableye. That could be annoying if he leads with it. And there's a Mamoswine that's good against Lando, so not bad. Okay, so he goes Mammo, and he actually goes Sableye here, so I have no idea why he did this, but again, he could have some like Quash plays, but I'm just going to go into Groudon here and then just Dynamax and smash with the Venu. Again, even if he Quashes me, I feel like I still live the Mammo hit because I'm so bulky. There it is, I live the Mammo hit because I'm so bulky and I have the best EVs in the world. And we get the Vine Lash chip off, and basically we trade Max for Max. The difference here is... I have Vine Lash Chip, and now the Zacian is also going to take Vine Lash Chip, and it also gets Intimidated. So we're in a pretty good spot here. I just want to fake out the Zacian just so that I can hit with the Groudon here. He actually Will-O-Wisps and burns my Groudon. So a little unfortunate there, but still okay because I still have Vine Lash going away, chipping at these things, and none of this is applying that much pressure here. So I go for the P-Blades. Sableye takes a little bit of chip, and there's more Vine Lash chip as well. I'm just going to switch my Groudon into Grimmsnarl here, potentially try and get my screens up, but there's my parting shot. I go into Groudon here. I don't want my instant to die yet. I'm going to need it against the Zacian later on when I Intimidate it. He went for Weather Ball. It doesn't bother Groudon one bit, but now I'm just going to take the opportunity to Swords Dance here because nothing here is really pressuring me. The Hurricane and Sun, good luck with that. And Grimmsnarl can, you know, safely do what Grimmsnarl does best and just be annoying on the field. He goes into Zacian now, which is fine because basically I get a free Swords Dance, and you notice how he goes for the Wide Guard just to cover for that Precipice Blades option. But now he's in big trouble because now I have the Clover tech that is called Scary Face, and if I click it, Groudon goes first and hits it with a P-Blades +2. We missed a Sableye, but there it is. Zacian goes down, even though I'm burned. And that is why you don't need that much attack on Groudon, because after Swords Dance, you just win the game. And from here, we just do, you know, what we need to do. Spirit Break, there goes the Pelipper, and now it's just a lonely Sableye, and that's pretty much all she wrote. So yeah, we saw a couple of important things in these few battles. One, Sleep Powder is necessary, not Protect. And Groudon needs Swords Dance because if something like this happens where you get burned, you need a way to get damage back. And Swords Dance is that option, right? So yeah, that's why I like it a lot. And remember, Sleep Powder can help set you up for Swords Dance because you can sleep a threat that would go first, and then if you sleep it, then Groudon can safely get that Swords Dance up. So that's why it's always really, really good to have. So one more time, let's take a look at the paste and send this off. Alright, so yeah, this is what we got here for how we fixed this Sun team. Again, it looks relatively standard, but again, wait, this is not the right one. Hold on a second here. We're just gonna go here. Yeah, this is the one we wanted. Okay, yeah, this is the one we wanted. Not the one with Fire Punch and Dragon Claw. So Swords Dance was good. AV Zard can come in clutch, especially if you're bulky with a Porygon 2 lead as well. Again, you're gonna have use for Shadow Ball, I promise. It's mod is P2, nobody expects it. It's gonna be so nice. And again, Instant just does instant things. And overall, I think we've improved the team. We have a better Calyrex Shadow matchup. We have screen support with the Grimmsnarl just to be extra bulky. Our Venusaur has a little bit more utility than just be, you know, just Focus Sash with Protect. Now we can actually Dynamax and do damage. And our Zard can live some hits and the opponent won't know until it's too late, right? So I feel like this 6, although the 6 may be standard, it's our sets, our items, and our EVs that make all the difference. And I feel like we did a good job with it. So yeah, let me know what you think on how we fixed this team. And again, if you are interested in getting a team fixed by me with my own type of EV spreads, again, that is one of the membership options when you click join. If you want to do tier 2, this is it. This is a tier 2 option. If you want to do team building for tier 3, you can do that. Where you and I would jump on a call and build a team from scratch, and then we would just try it out and see how it goes. But yeah, if you're interested, give it a go. But yeah, we'll do a few more team fixing videos. A couple people have submitted some stuff to me, so yeah, we'll be back next time with more Series 11 coverage. Peace.